Hello Texans, and welcome back to another episode of Texan Sports Minute. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the Tarleton baseball and softball teams and how they've been doing since their last episode. Basketball is close to wrapping up their seasons, and we'll see where they stand going in the LSC tournament. Tennis notched an important non-conference win, golf has played in 2 tournaments since our last episode, and we have a special in-studio interview. So let's start things off with basketball. Timing was definitely on Tarleton's side last Saturday as the Texans would play their most dramatic game of the season against the number 12 Ram Bells on Saturday. The game would literally come down to the last second, and it would all be seen by a national audience on Watch ESPN. Things didn't seem the best for the Texans at the 5-minute mark in the fourth. They were down by double digits, but as the clock ticked down, things would change. The Texans tied things up with 1 second remaining, which caused the Ram Bell to call a timeout, which they didn't have. A technical foul would be a result of the feigned timeout call, and Bailey Whip would knock down both shots for the 79-77 win. Ever since the Texans knocked off the number 12 Ram Bells, things haven't been going their way. The Texans traveled to Commerce, Texas to take on the Annis Commerce Lions. The Texans would lead the Lions for most of the game, but after being outscored 29-17 in the fourth, the Lions got the 10-point victory. After the game, the Texans took on Texas Women's University in Denton. The game would be close throughout the first 3 quarters as each team clawed for the lead. Unfortunately, the Texans would once again be outscored in the fourth quarter and eventually lose 48-53. The Texans would play the last 2 games of the season before they traveled to Allen for the LSC Championship Tournament. The men's game would be a little less dramatic, but still entertaining nonetheless. In front of a sold-out home crowd and national television on Watch ESPN, the Texans took on conference rival the San Angelo State Rams. The Texans wouldn't come out of the gate like they wanted to, going only 1 for 14 from beyond the arc and 27% from the floor. Despite the low shooting, the Texans were only down by 5 going into the half. Things would pick up for the Texans in the second half, leading for nearly almost the entire rest of the game. With less than 2 minutes left, the Rams tried to come back, but the Texans closed the game with an 11-4 run to get the 76-67 win. Despite an impressive win on national television, the Texans lost on the road to A&M Commerce. Despite a 33-point night from Chance Chambers and the Texans closing the game on a 15-5 run, their comeback effort fell just 1 point short as the Lions notched the 83-82 win. The Texans will take on UTPB tonight. If they pull away with the win, the Texans won the LSC Championship. The Texan baseball team would travel down to San Antonio to continue non-conference play against the University of St. Mary's. The Texans would drop the first game by 1 run, 7-8, but would end up winning the series. The next 2 games, the Texans won by 9-4 and then 9-8. The Texans wouldn't be through with St. Mary's just yet, however. The Texans would play the Rattlers again, just in a different city. The Texans travel all the way to Houston to take place in the Houston Winter Invitational. This is a very special tournament as the Texans got to play at Minute Maid Park. The Texans would blow past both the St. Mary's Rattlers and the Arkansas Fort Smith Lions to earn 2 wins. The only loss in the tournament would come at the hands of the second-ranked Central Arkansas Mules. The Texans wouldn't take the Mules as far as they could, but would end up losing by a single run in the 10th inning for the 4-5 loss. As for softball, the Texans have played 11 games since we last met, including their first conference series here in Stephenville against A&M Commerce. The Texans did exceptionally well in non-conference play since our last episode. The Texans went 4-2 in the DFW softball bash. Their only 2 losses would be both by 1 run. The Texans conference opener didn't go as well as the tournament. The Texans lost the series here in Stephenville 2-1. The Texans would brush off that series, however, as they would split the next 2 games against Texas A&M International with a 10-3 victory in the first game and a 2-3 loss in the second. The Texans will travel to Portales, New Mexico for a road series against the Eastern New Mexico Greyhounds this Friday. Texan tennis has been hard at work, opening their record with a 5-1. The Texans have won 5 of their last 6, with the only loss being 1 match decision against the nationally ranked Southwest Baptist Bearcats. The Texans got a big win against a regionally ranked opponent last week. The Central Oklahoma Broncos came to Stephenville, but wouldn't go home with the win as the Texans went up early as they won every match in doubles. The Broncos would try to mount a comeback in singles as they took the first 2 matches, but the Texans would win the remaining matches and eventually notch the 7-2 win. The Tarleton State track team had a good outing at the LSC Indoor Championship. 5 medals were won by Texans and Texans, plus 2 school records were broken at this meet. Zachary Pratt took home a silver medal in shot put after he broke the previous school record with a throw of 54 feet, 4.7 inches. Dalton Sidham's school-ranking record run in the 60-meter dash also won him a silver medal. The 8.17-second run would top the school record previously set by Sidham the year before by a single millisecond. For the Texans, they had 3 events win a bronze medal. Ashley Johnson's 58.20 finish in the 400-meter dash was good enough for a bronze medal. Roxana Hernandez jumped 5 feet 6 inches for the 3rd place finish, and the 4x400-meter relay team also took home a bronze medal. Other top finishers include Caitlin Huckabee and Amy Riera, who both finished 5th, Huckabee in the mile and Riera in the 2-mile. Andalyn Carlton finished 8th in the 800 for the Texans. Yohan DeLeon finished 8th in the 2-mile and 5th in the mile. And Randall Kadlasek 8.3-second 60-meter dash earned him the 6th spot. The Texan golf team have played in 2 tournaments so far this season. Their first tournament of the season, the Lady Radler Invitational, didn't exactly end the way the Texans wanted to. The girls were sitting in 4th on the first day, but couldn't move up in the competition on the second day because of 1.5 inches of rain flooded the course. Despite the cancellation, 4 Texans were in the top 20, with Lydia Traylor leading the team with a 10th place finish. The St. Edwards Invitational went better for the Texans, a 3rd place finish for 2 days of work this time. Earlier in the week, I got a chance to sit down with 2 members of the Texan golf team to talk about their upcoming season. Let's take a look. Hello everyone, I'm Channing Flatt, and I'm coming to you by 2 members of the Texan golf team, Miss Lydia Traylor and Miss Casey Wild. Let's just start off by telling everyone where you're from.
I'm from Australia.
Australia?
Yeah.
I'm from Dallas.
And how far is it for you to travel from Australia to Stephenville?
The flight's about 16 hours.
16 hours?
So it's pretty decent.
When you drive, how long does it take you?
It's just under 2 hours.
2 hours? 2 opposite ends of the spectrum right there. All right, so what brought you to Tarleton?
The golf. Yeah.
Was the golf program in Hull, were you highly recruited out of Australia, and then Tarleton you saw it was a different program from the rest of them?
Well, coach kind of contacted me, so I went through that way.
You just ended up in Stephenville?
Yep. So Stephenville.
I contacted Coach, but I came here for the golf too because it's a pretty high-ranked team, so a pretty competitive program.
All right. And tell us about the upcoming season. You guys are coming off of LSC and regional title. Do you guys just take it one tournament at a time, or are you looking for the big picture?
I think at the end we're looking at the big picture, but at the moment, it's every tournament time, especially for the start of the season. So we're trying to start off well.
Yeah, you just got to take it one at a time. You can't think ahead too much.
And tell us about your season opener. It was a little strange. It was you played one day and then it got rained out, I believe 1.5 inches, so you couldn't play the next. How was that to start off the season?
It's probably not how we wanted to start. Obviously, but I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. So we have to adapt to it. So.
Yeah, I think we could have moved up the second day if we could have played because we were playing pretty good, but we didn't get the chance.
Did you guys play the first 9 or the back 9, or were you waiting to play the other 9 the next day, or did you play the whole 18?
We play the whole 18 every day. So we had one.
Okay. All right. This next one's for you, Casey. Early in the season, you were selected to participate in the Judson Collegiate Tournament for the 2nd year in a row. What does that have an effect on your golf game? Does it really give you like a confidence boost when you get invited to tournaments like that?
Yeah, it does, and it really gives me the chance to compete higher as well. Like after the season is finished here, so yeah, it's just a good opportunity.
Is it fun to go to tournaments like that? Do you really enjoy meeting all the other people?
Well, I've never been to it before because I'm in Australia when it's on.
Oh, okay.
But hopefully I'll come back this year for it. So.
Alrighty. All right, so Lydia, you played at McLennan Junior College. Tell us about that, going from junior college to Division II. How the programs are different, how the competition is different.
Well, at my junior college, we actually played in all D1 tournaments, but they were like the small D1 schools, but it was still a pretty competitive school to play at just because not many junior colleges play with other D1 teams, but here we still play with really good teams too, so it's not too much of a shift. We actually played a little bit further distances at McLennan, so I like playing a little bit shorter here, but it's still pretty competitive in both places.
Speaking of traveling long distances, I know you guys played at the UIS Island Invitational. How was that? Was that a fun little trip for you guys to go to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That was awesome, yeah.
Was it the first time you've been to Puerto Rico before?
Yeah. It's the first time I've been out of the country, so it was really cool.
Did it take a toll on you when you guys had to fly out there? Was it a pretty long trip?
I was all right with it because I'm used to flying.
It was long for me. It was the longest flight I've ever been on.
And what can you say about Coach Doyle? He's won so many awards, so many titles. How has he had a real influence on your golf game as a coach and a mentor?
He's really good, especially with short game. Just around the greens has really helped, as well as course management. So it's really improved my game in that aspect. So yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's really experienced. He's had a lot of wins, and I haven't been here for those wins, obviously, but you can tell he knows what he's doing.
All right, and one last question. What can you guys say about your team this year?
I think we're pretty good. We'll be a strong team once we get going a bit, and yeah, it should be a good season.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have good momentum going into postseason. But Have to
All
see.
right. Well, thank you very much. This has been Lydia Traylor and Casey Wild. I'm Channing Flatt. The Texans will play in Wichita Falls for the Midwestern State Invitational on March 13th and 14th. Well, it's all the sports Tarleton can play in one week. Tune in next time for even more action. Signing off is Channing Flatt.